This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Before we get to the coach, Wimp Sanderson, quickly, how has this not made more noise? How do we not discuss this more? We were mentioning carries in a game or in a season. Well, we started in a game, and then that went to a season. We mentioned Tony Sands, was it 53 carries in a game? Completely insane. And Kejuan Lacey led the nation in rush attempts last year. I believe it was just over 300. Your all-time, by the way, Ashton Genty was the leader the year before, and he went for 374. Your all-time rush attempts leader in the season is Kevin Smith at UCF in 2007 with 450. How did we not talk about this more?
Yeah.
Guys, next in line is Marcus Allen with 403 in 1981. Troy Davis had 402 in 1996. And I know the standard that everyone's going to is Derrick Henry. He's fourth with 395 in 2015. Kevin Smith carried the ball 450 times in one season, and we didn't talk about that more? There have been 3 backs ever to carry the ball 400 times in a season in the history of college football. How are we not talking about this? That's insanity. That's 47 more than number 2. Whew. I got to go back to that season and look at Kevin Smith's year.
For comparison, this past year, Iowa as a team rushed 500 times. 504.
That deserves a lot more run. That he carried the ball 450 times in 1 year.
Last year, Georgia had 580. Georgia did. Ole Miss was 576.
Yeah. Pretty insane to think about. All right, he joins us each and every week. Thanks to our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly. It's the coach, Wimp Sanderson. Coach, how you doing?
Okay, before I talk about 5 stars in football, which I get a lot of calls about, go to the football, I won't try to talk about guy get kicked out of the soccer game last night. Not only did they kick him out for the last night's game, but they kicked him out. He can't play in the next game. I wouldn't like that in basketball. And so the other factor, too, is that how much we're doing now with gambling on golf. I could talk about that and really get everybody stirred up because golf is being gambled on a lot. And hollering at somebody who's trying to make a shot is going to be some trouble. Okay, for a basketball guy to be on this time of year, I'll get some calls about 5 stars, about teams not getting 5 stars, but getting 3 stars. Let me explain something to you about the star rating. The star rating is false a lot of times.
No.
The media puts a guy out there as a 5-star based on you trying to read it. A 5-star is a person who the assistant football coach goes to their practices and watches them play and feels that they are really, really terrific players. Changers in the offensive line, changers in the defensive line, skill players. And he comes back and tells his coaches, and they get the guy here to visit, And he visits, and he's great. He's nice. He does a great job. He's smart, so forth. There are 5 stars who get to your team, and then they feel like that they're better than everybody else. They got more money than everybody else. They're smart asses. They play the way they want to. They don't practice hard. They don't do a lot of things. There are 3 stars who become 5 stars once they get there, and not quite to 5 stars, but winnable people for you that make you win games because they get there, they stay there, they're coached well, they're happy to be there. They didn't get as much money. And so all the calls that I get on my show about one team not getting enough 5-stars to win, and the other team getting 3 stars, it's a 5-star is somebody who your assistant coaches have studied and know that he is that kind of player, and that kind of player you're going to get. Now you can win some games with people that are 3 stars that play hard, if you want to call it that. But the star system, to me, for all of our listeners, and I've said this on other shows, is overrated. It's the, as I have said 1,000 times, mental is to physical, what 3 is to 1. And what I mean by that is that if you're mentally tough and really want to do something, you may not quite have the physical ability to do it. But 3 is to 1 is the same principle, that a guy who really wants to do it, really wants to play, really wants to do things, can play and help you win. Is he going to turn the game around? Probably not. But I think I think those things are interesting to our listeners. I don't know if that's interesting to you or not.
No, it's very interesting. And I think, too, sometimes you consider the source. Sometimes you have to take into consideration where the kid's committed. You know, that changes. We've seen that change sometimes. And also, too, Coach, to me, it's still an evaluation, which is not an exact science. Yeah. And so sometimes I don't think it's egregious. I just think it's, hey, everything was lining up for that kid to look like a 5-star player, and it just didn't happen. You've seen it. I mean, guys get distracted. Guys don't care enough. I mean, guys don't handle themselves the right way.
Yeah. Well, recruiting a guy, and he used the right word when he said evaluation. You got to evaluate. You got to be darn sure. I recruited for 32 years, 12 years on I had assistant coaches that recruited for me as well. But the mental aspect is how much they want to be there. Now things have changed. I understand. Back in my day, I got all that. I'm not stupid. I understand it. Things have changed now, and money is a big part of that. I understand all of that. But also the mental part of it, and money makes you mentally good or bad sometimes, and because of the mothers and daddies who feel like that their kids should have gotten more when they signed him. So I think we decide too quick. Whether Alabama, for example, I get a lot of calls about that. They play their first 5 games. Now, game number 6 is Georgia. And they got Georgia, Tennessee, and LSU stretch in there with an open date, I think. I'm not looking at it. But, those guys have got to play and play hard. And other teams got good players, too. Anytime Cole lined up against somebody to play them, they were as good as Cole was or better, or they wouldn't be there. And so you have to understand that the motivational factor and the coaching factor and the getting better factor and wanting to win factor is huge. I guess I've talked too much.
No, it's. I think it's totally fair. How would you, as a former coach, go about measuring things for your team this time of year, like continuity, wherewithal, leadership, situational awareness, understanding of one another? Because that's the big question we ask with a lot of these teams right now, and we don't know it. We're not going to know it.
Well, you're sitting here now with Alabama not signing a lot of people, and people are going crazy. And number one is, and Auburn as well, I think, but Alabama especially, it comes out in my cotton picking little radio show. But basically, they didn't sign a lot of freshmen because they had a lot of holdover people. People didn't leave, and I think people get better when they play if you coach them well, and I think they do. If you don't coach them well, you notice when Alabama changes a coach, you don't hear about it. If an offensive line coach goes somewhere else, or you go to the West Coast and get one, they don't talk about it much. They get a guy from Louisville, a tight ends coach. It's not talked about much. They don't go into talking about a lot of stuff like that. But you get guys who have been there for a longer time, and have gotten better, and you also had a year where you got a bunch of transfers in, and you're like those guys. You're not going to be able to sign quite as many freshmen as generally you do. It's just exactly what you said. You've got to look at your situation, look at your personnel, look at who have you signed to in order to get the people that you need. And you make good comments, and you know a lot more about it than I do. But I recruited for a long time, and recruited a lot of great basketball players for Alabama, and I had them, and other coaches had them as well. I coached for other people, and so did we make mistakes? Sure, occasionally we make a mistake, but a lot of times we hit on guys that we felt like were players, but also wanted to play. Now I understand that the word money comes into play bigger now than it ever did when I was coaching. I understand that.
Can you facilitate those things though? Can you create leadership? Can you create continuity other than just better understanding of, your system and your assignments?
Sometimes you can with, I was pretty tough on my guys. If you can get players on your team with great leadership quality, you can get people there who will tell another guy another way how they've got to play and play harder and be comfortable with them, as in the locker room. That's locker room's big, and those kinds of little things people hang up on me when I say that, but that's true. To be kids that really care about the other people and how the other people play and those kinds of things, and about besides money, and not worry particularly about what happens to them. I think that's a big factor there. So I don't know. There are some coaches that can do a better job than other coaches, but you have assistant coaches that do that as well, and everybody coaches their own personality, and everybody said that I didn't have one, so that's the way I like to coach. So we had good teams, but we worked guys that we thought could play in our program and could handle it. I lost some guys who, when they came in for the visit, after the visit, they didn't particularly care for me. So that's the way it was. But the one thing I tried to do when I went in as a basketball coach after being there 20 years as assistant was be tough. Was not, I don't know what the word is, tough, but to be in a way that we were going to do it the right way, and we were going to do it hard. And if you could, and here's the thing about life. You end up when you're going through tough times. I had Hollywood Robinson, who was a great player. He got mad because he had to run all those defensive drills. When you go through tough times, you don't like going through the tough times. But when you get through the tough times and get into pro basketball and look back at it, you're tickled to death that he did you that way, because you're better playing now than you were when you were going through the tough times. You were all pissed off at everybody. But when you go through them, then you get back and look at it. And then when you grow up and have kids, your mother made you be in at 10 o'clock, and you didn't like it at night. But when you have kids, guess what? You make your daughter be in at 10 o'clock because your mother made you be in at 10 o'clock. They didn't like it, but now you do exactly what you didn't like when you try to teach your kids. I think that's so important to people. It may be corny, but it's my feeling.
No, I don't think anybody would push back on that, Coach. You mentioned the World Cup a little bit earlier. Are you into it? Are you watching it? Are you excited about it?
No, I'm not. I should be. I'm excited about it, but I'm not into it because I don't know enough about it. I know you're golden. Got to be wide and keep it out. I think your feet are great. I do not know a lot about it, and I'm not going to be able to get on here and tell you a lot about it because I missed it last night. But I know that's the talk of all radio shows, and so I apologize for going the other way. But I think when a guy gets kicked out of a game, I think he got kicked out last night, and he's also played the next game. I wouldn't like that particularly.
I don't think anybody likes that. I mean, we compared it to targeting earlier in the show. It's just not, probably not the way that it should be with any sport, really.
Yeah, it's that game's when that game is over with, that game is over with, and the next game is a brand new venue. I think so. That's what I think.
There you go, Coach. We always appreciate your time.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's kind of a dead period of time, and people are going different directions. But the 4th of July is important and be fun for all of us. So. I appreciate Piggly Wiggly and Coke having me on. Coke has always been so good to me. In fact, they took me to Augusta one time to get to see the Masters, which was a thrill. And I'm having lunch in about hour and 15 minutes with Stanley Visiglio, who runs Piggly Wiggly, and Andy, and they absolutely have great stores and great grocery stores and do everything they possibly can to please you. So appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks.
Thank you, Coach. All right, that's the Coach Wimp Sanderson joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. He's with us each and every week. Thanks to our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly. We've got some stats from Dave Bartu on a couple of SEC coordinators coming up in a few minutes. He'll share those with us. I got to tell you about Game Day Men's Health. If you are lacking energy, lacking sleep, feeling on edge, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you. And it's easy how you can allow them to do that like they've done for so many other Jocks listeners. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today. Sign up for the free consultation. With that, you get the free PSA test, free testosterone test. They give you your baseline health, let you know where you stand, and then present the options in which they can help you. By the way, you save 10% on any of those options when you mention Mac and Cube when you walk in the front door at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. 10-15% of their patients are women. So if you need the peptides or weight loss and you're a female, even though it's Game Day Men's Health, they can help you as well. Just go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today. See what they can do for you. Locker room environment, stress-free, minimal upfront costs from the programs they offer at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Tell them you heard about them right here on Mac and Cube in the morning. We'll get to a break, come back with some recruiting news, and continue talking college football next on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.